How's it going?
What's up? We're back.
Hello, we are back for another amazing Adobe live stream. We're here with Aundre Larrow for day 2 of Lightroom and mobile photography that we were working on a little bit yesterday. And so yeah, we're really excited to do some more and see some more of your process and you know, show us your thing. So yeah, we're really excited. Let us know where you are watching from. We are here in San Francisco. If you didn't get to watch yesterday's stream, you can watch the replay of that. It is up live on behance.net/live. Hi, Jen Eric. Oh, that's someone from yesterday.
Dude,
Howdy from Norway.
Thanks for coming back.
Hi, Jurgen. Hi, Ariana. Hi, Alberto. And Tim's in here again. Awesome.
Ooh, Tim with that real check.
Yes, I know.
See you, dude.
He's legit.
I feel like we're on the school announcements today.
Yeah, I know, right?
Welcome to Wagstaff.
Welcome to Adobe Live. Great. Yeah, let us know where you're watching from and say hello in the chat. We've got a full day today. So yeah, we just did a Photoshop Daily Creative Challenge with Kathleen. Make sure to watch that. You can watch that above the challenge tab, I believe, above the chat. And then we've got Aundre until 11:30 for some more mobile photography. We've got Howard with another XD Daily Creative Challenge, and then we've got Lena again at noon for some branding and identity. I watched a little bit of her stream yesterday, and it was amazing. Love the colors.
Dude, it was awesome.
It was awesome. So yeah, so make sure to stick around because there's plenty of other things to see and learn. Yeah, and I just want to remind you guys that we do have a chat and win about half an hour from now.
Ooh.
So you'll get a chance to win some stickers, 100 stickers from Sticker Mule. So make
Wait,
sure
you win
stay.
100 stickers?
100 stickers.
No, I'm not even.
Isn't that insane?
I'm sorry.
I know.
Actually shocked.
No.
That was like, what'd you say to me?
Yeah. So make sure to stay active in the chat, say hello, and we'll be doing that in about half an hour. So yeah, cool. Oh, hi from Oakland. Hi, Eric.
Dude, shout out to Eric.
Oh, Tim's watching from Germany. I forget that he's in Germany. It's so crazy.
Tim, what time is it in Germany
It's good
right
evening.
now?
He said it's good evening.
Oh, good evening.
Probably in the evening. Awesome. Yeah, so we are here joined by Aundre. If you didn't get to see yesterday's stream, he is based in Brooklyn. Is originally from Florida.
Yep.
He is a photographer and a portrait photographer, creative photographer, just does all the things and primarily works with Lightroom. You know, do you work with Photoshop too? Or?
Yeah, I do work with Photoshop. I am sorry that we didn't get into as much of it yesterday. I just wanted to make sure that we set a good foundation.
Yeah.
For today.
Oh no, absolutely. Yeah. I think you have to watch yesterday's stream, by the way, because it was so informative, and there was so much information about just the way that you think about shooting, like lighting and studying light. Mm-hmm. There was, you know, he even shared a little bit of his equipment and all things that if you're, you know, new or just barely starting photography, something that's really, really important. So we covered a lot of information yesterday, so make sure to watch the replay of that. But yeah, so I have his Instagram pulled up here. Make sure to follow him, Aundre.
Yes,
very legit.
Shout out to my mom for giving me that.
Yeah.
And just so you know that I am being interviewed by just the coolest human.
Oh, thank
you. We were talking at lunch yesterday, because we hang out outside of this, about doing more business related things. So we're actually going to start today by talking about a project I did, and we're going to FaceTime somebody in, which is, I'm told, an Adobe Live original.
Ooh.
So we're going to have 3 people in this, 2 people in the studio, 1 person on FaceTime.
Awesome.
But it's going to be really cool, and it's actually former Creative Resident Becky Simpson. And we're going to have that really soon.
And Aundre was also a former Creative Resident too. So.
Let me plug that again before I forget. If you are an emerging creative, if you're a younger creative, basically it's if you've had less than 5 years of professional experience, take this opportunity to work on something that you want to work on. Yeah. Pitch a long project that you can work on throughout the year, something that has different shareable points and things that really push you as a creative. They like to say that you grow 3 years in one. If you let me take a quick second, we're gonna hop over to my phone and I can show you guys just a little bit of something I did when I was a resident.
Awesome. Thank you, Tim, for including the link there. So if you want to learn more about the program and how to apply, head over and click over to that link.
Yes, please do. It's due in a week, I believe. Today is the 16th.
So you still have a chance. Make sure to apply.
So really fast, I did a project called Stories from Here. It was about framing identity
I saw this on your Behance.
where you were. You can see it on Behance. Actually, this is made on Adobe Portfolio.
Amazing. Love it.
I really look like I'm just like the biggest fanboy. But it actually really works. I'm not just like here for no reason.
Yeah, no, absolutely.
And so you guys will see that it's all laid out in Behance, and then it'll push. No, Alberto, the residency was pushed. The due date is now the 22nd.
Awesome.
They just wanted to give some extra time.
That's
so
great.
in here, there are different people. This is a project inside of this I did with high school students about their sense of identity. They'd be the first people in their families to go to college, what that would mean. Further down are different people in Jessica in Los Angeles, Lawrence in Chicago.
Love it.
And the way that these are set up, they're supposed to be written like magazine features, but about regular people. And so it was a really interesting project that, like, I know people think immediately like residency, I'm going to travel to be really cool, but it was a project that helps me find like more individual stories about identity and like also think about some stuff for myself. And it was cool. So do what you can.
Yeah,
I'm sure your work
get
is
in
really
there. Apply for the program because it is so worth it. And obviously, we have an amazing former creative resident to tell you all about it. So, yeah. Before we get started on things, I do want to remind everyone that we did have a challenge today. So I believe the challenge was to create wallpaper patterns using the define pattern. So you can still submit that in the challenge section on Behance. But today we're actually going to be doing some portfolio reviews. So right above the chat, there is the portfolio review button. Make sure to click that and submit your portfolio so that we can review it in about an hour and a half. So you'll get some feedback.
Shout out to Accra, Ghana. If you, the story I just had open was about Lawrence, who is from Ghana. So thank you.
So
you have
cool.
perfect
Hi, Gilbert.
timing.
Thanks for watching from Ghana. That's awesome.
I love it.
Cool. Yeah, so, a lot of things going on today. Do you want to just quickly introduce yourself a little bit for anyone who's new or didn't watch yesterday's stream?
I am her little brother. And, no, well, maybe. I am a Brooklyn-based photographer. I work on portraits a lot. I was a resident before, but portraits are really important to me because they're an opportunity to get to know the people that you work with, the people that you shoot. Excuse me, I think a lot about how legacy of lives affects us, and so the opportunity to capture something that matters is really, really valuable. And so today, I'm going to show you some live editing, but the thing we're going to start with is understanding what the needs of a project are, what potentially the viewership of those people are, and then how that might impact how you want to work, and how that kind of gave me a lot of clarity. Before I was a resident, I worked at a startup that was based here. They've since moved, but it was called Walker & Company. Shout out to Bevel. And when I was there, I learned a lot about understanding what value props are. So value propositions being we're shooting something for this glasses company, and your new glasses work really well to stop eye strain. And so any things that I'm shooting should reflect that, and they should be able to have that joy, but also work into what those business needs are.
Yeah.
And I think that approach helped me even after that to figure out how I wanted to shoot more art things and fun things. Is just really trying to settle on a main idea, because sometimes my brain can go super fast and I don't actually express myself the way I want to.
Yeah, that makes absolute sense. Yep. Cool.
So we're gonna hop into it. We're gonna bring in another guest, surprisingly.
Woo.
Could you hop over to the Chipper Things?
Yeah,
page?
And I hope this is her.
It is.
Oh, perfect. Okay.
So we're gonna call Becky in a second, but she has this really excellent brand that is about kind of doing what you want, female empowerment, really kind of calmness. But if you scroll through, you see a lot of photos that are actually mine, like this top left guy right here, and she continues to work through them.
Love that.
And it's this, it ended up coming from this really, really fun shoot. So I'm gonna call her in and we're gonna talk about it.
Cool.
So that you guys can get an idea of what works the best. So here we go, let's try it.
Okay.
Let's see what happens. Maybe I should FaceTime her on my iPad. Oh, that's scary. I knew that was coming, still terrified me.
I know, it's always so. Oh, thank you, Tim, for including the link to her
Dude, Tim, appreciate
Instagram.
you.
I know, he's the best. He's on it.
Dude, I'm scared she won't pick up.
Oh, no.
Can you imagine? All this stuff. She's just I'm busy.
Ooh.
Hey.
Awesome.
We were so worried you weren't going to pick up.
What?
We were worried you weren't going to pick up for a second.
Oh, yeah.
So we were just showing everybody the Chipper Things work and talking to them about your brand. So could you take a second and introduce yourself to the Adobe Live people that maybe haven't met you before? And they already put all your links in so people can click and look and be awesome.
Cool. Thank you. So, what time is it? Are we like
Yeah, so you...
test?
No, we're ready to go.
No, we're ready to
we're
go.
Like, we're live right now with everybody.
Everyone watching us?
Yeah,
Yes.
everyone's watching you here.
Oh, hi, everyone.
So you can see what's going on. They can see you like right on that screen.
Yeah.
Ooh, very fun.
Yeah.
Very cool. Well, thanks for having me.
Absolutely. Could you tell us about your work, about who you are, about the fact that you just drove through America in an Airstream for a year with your husband?
I could. Yeah, so I'm Becky, and I was an Adobe Creative Resident, and that's how we know each other. I have a brand called Shipper Things, and it's an online store, but we're in dozens of stores around the U.S. and Canada, and we sell optimistic objects like t-shirts and hats and prints and woven blankets.
Ooh,
it's really fun. So everything
awesome.
is illustrated, designed by me. And you were kind enough to photograph a collection.
Love that.
Last year, my husband and I RV'd around the country for a year, and so I was already doing a lot of things remote, but like that really forces you to get scrappy. So we were able to do that shoot from different coasts, where I gave as much direction as I could to hopefully make your life easier, and you crushed it. The photos are so damn good.
Thank
I loved
you.
it.
So, you work in the daytime as a full-time creative, and you have a job, and everything is great. What would you say are things that are like how you would communicate with a photographer that you haven't worked with the first time? Like what are things that they should be asking you or be paying attention to when like they're trying to like figure out a way to shoot what you need?
Well, I try to acknowledge my ignorance, first of all, because being an illustrator and designer, I'm like, people oftentimes just don't know what they don't know. I don't think anyone ever like intends to be ignorant or to be like, oh, this should take you 10 minutes. Just do it, throw it in. So try to like be, come into it. I try to come as like from both. I've been on both sides of it with some humility. But yeah, I guess it's just kind of nailing down the objective first. And then like when we work together, yeah, we talked about this is what's launching. This is what actually has to be photographed. Like I need shirts. I need pictures of just like the shirt. Like I want all the cool lifestyle stuff, but like I try to think about like what are the essentials, the non-negotiables for the shots. And then we kind of had the non-negotiables in terms of like the actual content needed. And then I did a Pinterest board and threw a bunch of stuff on that was cool. And then you were like, hey, you can actually like categorize it by campaign, like the Levi's campaign, or a type of shot, or a style of a shot. So I didn't even know that before, that you can do that in Pinterest. So I've been doing that since, and it's so handy, I'm sure. And then outfits. So we talked about all that through email, like what's the look. Like I'm pretty hands off in general. Like I'm not super picky about the outfits. I just I want it to look natural. So I give some direction, but it's not, for me, it's not as specific as like we need plaid pants. It's like
I'm actually wearing plaid pants right now.
Yeah, I mean, I guess if it called for it, but
I mean, that's kind of why you hire a photographer, a creative, right? You're wanting their input or their kind of vision. Like you give the direction, but at the end of the day, the creative kind of comes through to execute it and kind of put their own twist into it, while still maintaining your values and like what you're trying to convey. So.
Yeah, that's why it's working with a good team is so invaluable, because you have somebody. It's not all resting on you. Like someone's out there looking out for you and saying, this part, this kind of looks a little funky this way. Or like, here's what I think we should do. So you have, there's just more people looking out for you. And then they're even better because it's, like that is your craft.
Yeah, absolutely.
Yeah.
So for you guys, on your end, like, so we talked yesterday, and Becky, this kind of came out of when we were at lunch. you were talking about how when you were building your brand, you guys would just reach out and say, hey, well, if you send us this product, we'll shoot it for you. And it's like a way of like doing biz dev. If someone's reaching out to you for the first time, what are things that you're looking for in their work or how they're talking to you to like let you know that you might want to work with them?
Ooh, in general or specifically for like photography?
Specifically for
photography.
I would say, well, I don't think everyone has to do this, but I have a photographer I work with in Nashville, and her name's Sydney Witten. I think her Instagram is SydWhit, SYDWHIT. Anyway, she reached out a few years ago, and she's a college student, and she was so generous. She was like, I would love to shoot some of your stuff, and she has given me so much value. And again, I don't think like this is what everyone has to do. I'm not a fan of devaluing your work, but in certain scenarios, like if you're a student, she offered me so much value that I couldn't look away. And she was so generous with it. And it's led to, I pay her to do stuff. And normally, you would pay someone right away. But, like, that was one way to get into the door. And I've seen so many stories like that of people just being really generous. And anyway, but, if it's a regular scenario, it's really just somebody being enthusiastic about the brand. And, like, if your work is good or if you've done work like that, it speaks for itself. So, I think it's just the vibe. I don't think it has to be much to it, not that long. If it works, it works. If you see someone's stuff and you connect with it, you don't need a big explanation. You either know it or you don't.
Yeah, absolutely. So. I think that's so true. And just like, I think having like meeting somebody that you can see like a potential partnership over time too. Like, there's so much to be said about like having, a kind, positive attitude and like, I don't know, just like, I think just being nice. And I like that, how you said about like being enthusiastic. Because if someone's just being whatever, trying to get money from you, it's like, I don't know. I think, you have to be passionate about the product or passionate about working with them.
Take that for granted. But I've been on both sides of it now as art director who hires people and as the brand and the artist. And now that I'm on the side of it, I'm like, people forget that at the end of the day, a brand, like making someone's life easier is like the best value you can give them. So it's worth it. Like I want to keep working with the same people because then I don't have to look for new people. It's like, it's not even, as much as you want to support and it's out of kindness, it's like, just don't make their life hard. And just out of that, they'll want to keep working with you.
100%.
And like, I never really thought of it like that before, but it's true.
Yeah, such a good point.
So on the shoot, can you tell us a little bit about how you, maybe the brand, like what your target market is, if after you posted the images, what you, like if you thought there was any positive growth, reactions, etc., like that, like things that you wanted to try, just so like we can get on the other side of that, because I was going to talk to them later about like understanding, okay, if I'm shooting something that's like my personal experience and it's easier, but this was interesting for me because I'm not in your target market exactly, because I'm not like a cool 18 to 28-year-old woman, 35, I don't know.
Our target market is, it's probably around 20 to 35-year-old women. Definitely women, mostly. And it's a lot of very creative people, which is really fun because it, for me as like being in art and design world, like so many of the people who are in the Chipper Things community is also in that like art design world too. And then it's a lot of just very positive, irreverent women who have a sense of humor, who have good taste, but they're not pretentious. It's very accessible.
You would work great.
So part of me is like probably like projecting, like this is what I want it to be. I really feel like it aligns. I feel like people who get it really get it. So yeah, but yeah, like the quick answer is it's women who are 20 to 35 and like have a fun sense of humor.
Paco was like, from my experience, clients usually come back if you streamline the workflow and make it a pleasant experience to work with them, which is absolutely true.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Exactly.
Very cool.
Do you have anything you want to ask?
I mean, I just I love your t-shirt. I love your brand. I want to get to know. I feel like I'd be your target audience.
Oh, no. You guys would get along really well. No, it's a beautiful shirt.
I think you make some really great valid points. So I think,
Yeah. We're going to let you go in a second, but I just wanted to say, so we're going to look into the images. What were like, when you were describing how you wanted everything to look, what were the main ideas so that we can keep that in mind when I'm walking them through how we shot and edited?
Yes, good point. I wanted it to feel like these women are being captured just like living their life in New York. So very more of a candid and I'm probably not using the right words, but like street photography or photojournalism, I don't know. But not super stylized, but still beautiful and kind of raw. They're wearing like very normal clothes. They're cool, understated, and to have them like look and feel like they're friends.
Yeah, love that.
And not like, I mean, there's so many like gorgeous,
like your girl next door, you know.
Yeah, exactly.
Yeah,
like,
girl next door, candid,
spaces,
kind of.
but that's not my brand. Like we have some serious ones, but it's like just look like you're having fun, and they did. I mean, there's a whole mix of it, but I wanted to feel like this is actually how this looks in real life, not like underwater in like Maui. So
that's awesome.
Yeah. I loved it, and they turned out even like it beyond my expectations, surpassed. It was I'm still so in love with these photos.
Oh, you must have done an amazing
job.
Thank you
enough.
Dude, thank you so much. Yeah, and so with that in mind, very lastly, you were talking about things not being serious. What role do you think having like bright images for you here makes sense? Like, I would say that when I went through and did like an audit, so this is something that I always love to do is like, if someone reaches out to me about work, I want to go through and look at their Instagram and their website first to see what images like work well with them. And I saw a lot of images for you that were like really bright, playful, irreverent's a good word. And so I tried to like keep that spirit and keep things on the brighter side of stuff. Do you feel like that's accurate? What'd you say?
Yeah. I was just thinking about the shots on the tree with all the flowers. Oh, so good. I think that was perfect. But I will say something why I think you really nailed it is my stuff is, although like it can be very like cheerful and bright, but I don't ever want it to feel cartoony or immature. And so it is sort of a balance of like the sophisticated context and colors. So I think what you did was perfect in positioning it, and like there was the color and the brightness. I know it was like a freezing cold day for everyone. It was like you're like, why was today so cold? But it felt very cheerful and bright. But again, being just in the context of the city and in real life, it wasn't like on pink backdrops and there's like what other brands in my world do, and it's just that's where I feel like I'm a little bit different from some of them.
Oh, perfect.
Cool.
Thanks, bud.
Yeah.
So everybody say bye to Becky. She's going to leave us, but I think with that context,
thank you for bringing me on.
we can spend, definitely. I like so much, like you just really settled it in for me like yesterday. Like it is so important to like provide context so people can understand. Like often, I'm sure you do too.
And this is coming straight from,
like straight from the horse's mouth. And like talking about people saying like, how did you get to this shoot? Like Becky and I met as residents or after when I was resident, and I just kept like trying to talk to her about stuff, and this was good practice for me.
Yeah,
so.
Absolutely.
Yeah, I learned from that too, and like just how to collaborate well. Like it starts with one person reaching out and the other person following through.
Dude, that is the perfect mic drop. I will let you go. Laura saying bye, Ariana saying bye, Paco saying bye.
Bye everyone. Thank you again for having me. All right, talk soon. Bye.
So now I know we're going to do our sticker thing soon, but we're going to keep it pretty quick. Because now I want to show you what our final product ended up being. We shot all of these images, and the initial goal was, or the story was like women going to a picnic for Farmers Market Day. And so all these images were built around and released in your Earth Day. And so like they're used by her to make digital sales. I wanted it to feel very not pretentious. And so we have things in here that just feel very like, hey mom, like I think about the Beyonce Homecoming where Solange comes on the stage and she's so excited to see her, like that same level of pride. There's just a lot of
so cute
joy here. And also like something to point out, just as a quick side note, it is really important to me that anytime unless someone gives me a demographic for their models, that I'm gonna shoot a mix of everyone. So a dark-skinned black woman, my friend Noemi, a lighter-skinned black woman, my friend Morgan, Rafa is a good friend of mine from college, Lyd, and I think that it like worked out. And so for story-wise, we used a little bit of money to buy some of this stuff, and then went on just the smallest adventure. And so we'll get into these edits. I know we only have a couple minutes left, but some of our art until we do this, but a lot of the stuff ended up being like really beautiful. We have Morgan's wearing the On My Mother's Star.
Shot on your Instagram. So pretty.
And so we made so many things that felt fun, full of wonder.
I love that. And you can really see the emotion and just like the girls' expressions are so fun.
Oh, hey, Leah. Leah said, what's the average amount of pictures I take every shoot? I think it depends. This shoot is $349, which is a lot, but I like Becky, so I gave her more. If you remember yesterday, we talked about how I like to organize stuff, so I'll do...
Is that $349 selects?
Yeah, selects.
Okay.
No, so I'm going to the original, which is $730.
Okay.
And so I shot this, I believe, over the course of like 4 or 5 hours. So it wasn't like that crazy, but in between there was a lot of like travel to things. So I would say that it really, really depends, but I've never been like a single shot, I got it person. There's a guy I went to college with that was always really good at that, and I thought he was way cooler than me, but I've never been that person. Also, like even when you shoot things, there's all these tiny little changes. And so as we go through,
one little change can make that image like better. So it's definitely,
And sometimes you just shoot things and they're fine. Like this photo is really positive. There's a lot of light and color, and then this one's kind of whatever. And when you go through these things, like I think sometimes for me, overshooting can help because a lot of that process of becoming better is going through everything you're doing, right? And so understanding that like this ended up being more fun, even though there's movement and she's a little out of focus, than maybe this original image that just feels like pretty normal. And so being able to like look through your mind's eye and be like, I can anticipate what's going to happen here. It's like,
Yeah, absolutely. Ooh, we are ready for chat and win, so make sure to say hi in the chat. Ooh, hi Alexandra from Ukraine. Stay active in the chat. You'll get a chance to win some stickers, and we will be right back.
Choo. Anyway, so I was just telling that guy.
And we're back.
Just from underneath the table. We're back.
Say hello in the chat. Tell us, what's the most amount of images you've taken in a shoot.
Wow. That's scary.
Yeah, isn't that scary? And you'll get a chance to win some stickers. Ooh, we've got Megan from Canada.
Edmonton, Canada. Shout out. Ooh, I also want some sticks. You're getting 100 stickers.
100
I'm not
stickers.
even sure that they're not even paying me 100 stickers. What's going on here?
Hi, Robert. Hi, Leah. Who doesn't love stickers? That's right. Stickers are great.
That's true.
I've been putting them lately on my hard drive, and it's so much fun.
Well, it's actually useful because sometimes those hard drives, when you buy ones that you like, all look the same.
They all look the
so
same.
you mess around and grab the wrong one, and everyone's
exactly. upset. Hi, Jason. He's new here, so welcome to Adobe
What's up,
Live.
dude?
That's awesome. Good. Ooh, we've got a winner, and it's Wen and Van Portbliet. Hopefully
Wow.
I said that right.
Honestly,
Congratulations.
that
You are
name
the
sounds
winner
like
of
you-
100 stickers. And if you didn't win, that's okay. Because we do have a link for stickermeal.com/Adobe Live 20. And you'll get 10 stickers for $1, which is a great deal.
heck yeah.
Yeah, and then our winner will get a message from Behance, so you'll get a chance to redeem that as well. So, yay.
So for everyone just popping in, my name's Aundre Larrow. I'm hanging with the ever illustrious.
I love it. That's the second time I've heard you use that word.
It's a great word.
Illustrious.
Arabela, and you'd let me say your name.
I know,
I paused and I was like, this is awkward. And we were talking about how we get clients, how we work on the direction they give us.
Yes.
And so we had my friend Becky, who's a former Creative Resident, also come on and talk about her brain chipper things. So we could set the stage to talk about how I worked on this project. Ariana, it's great.
It's a great word.
If you can, just make sure you just tweet and Instagram right at her. Illustrious. Maybe we'll get her to change her name. So I'm just going to walk you guys through walk you guys through these just for a second so you can take a look. So we started early, and just to let you know what I did here was, the reason why I wanted to shoot this work was because I wanted to work with Becky, but also I recognized that I had a gap in my portfolio of lifestyle images, and particularly images with just women.
Just women.
I think often, we were looking at a tweet yesterday that jokes about how a lot of art directors and creators will make things that completely reflect their reality.
Yeah.
I was kind of, I don't want to say over-indexing, but like, if we take a second and go to my website, it's actually up. See, I was prepared. Sorry. You'll see that I do end up having a lot of images of like young black males, kind of the same age as me. And although that's fun, there is something valuable about making sure that the storytelling I do isn't just limited to what like I'm
What
generally
you're
aware of.
experiencing. Yeah.
And so with that, the desire to shoot for Chipper Things was born. If you're curious about the date, you'll see it was the 4th month on the 28th in 2019. So almost a year ago.
Wow.
And so first of all, when we talked about light yesterday, one thing you'll notice as you look through these is you're not seeing any strange shadows anywhere. And that's because it was a really overcast day. And so despite popular belief, shadows and overcast aren't necessarily bad, because if you shoot in an even shadow, the light's going to be even. If you shoot in an overcast day, the light will run through here, and you'll see that there's not a lot of shadow being created on Lydia or Rafa's faces, and they're just maybe being made by their hair. And so there's almost like a wrap of color happening.
Yeah.
The best way to describe that is if you look through, you can see with Morgan, you'll see even without any color edits, you're seeing a little bit of hot spotlight right here on her forehead. But generally, we were shooting this in the middle of the day, early in the day from 9 to about 4. If you take a look at this, you'll see the light will change, but it usually has a really hot shadow that comes across. And so, similar to how we're in a studio now, there's a nice even light stretching across us. That's the kind of the stuff you want to look for, especially when you're shooting lifestyle, because you don't want everything to look really aggressive. And by aggressive, it's kind of hard to, let me try to find a good example, but the reason why I'm working from the non-selects is so you guys can kind of have an idea of what was shot. And also, when you have nice even light like this, you'll see that you can shoot people of different skin tones and everything will look okay. Hello to Rada.
Hi, Rada.
And yes, congrats on the stickers, dude.
Yeah.
So something that I want to point out about shooting folks with slightly darker skin tones, I don't think that it actually is the hugest deal. But if you are unsure, you want to go ahead and expose for the darker skinned person, just to make sure that you don't blow their skin out. The best way I can show you is if we go down here, probably one of my favorite images. I'm not sure why I didn't post them. Let me try to find it. So we're on filter buy for Lightroom, working on Lightroom all day on an iPad. You can go ahead and go to edited, which is pretty great. And then if we go from edited, we will see this set that I really, really love. And they're really important because we're talking about bursts, right? And we're talking about how to look for our images. And as you look through these, you'll see that there's even just slight changes on the faces of folks. So even between these two, you're seeing like a little bit of fear and tenderness in Morgan's face, a level of confidence in Rafa's.
Yes.
And then the one I ended up using was this one because I really love the idea of Noemi being taller than them, of kind of wrapping around them and being supportive.
Yes.
And that was how I described the brand. Like, I think right now, a big part of important marketing for brands that are specifically about women is we're not here to tear each other down. We're here for each other.
To support each other, encourage each other, grow together. Yeah.
There's something really powerful about it. I like including her hand here, but this crop for me is tight enough that all you're seeing is their strength. You're seeing just one piece of their clothing. That's it. And then you're wrapped up around in the earth. So, oh, sorry. Yeah, Rita, thank you. I hope I'm saying your name right. If it's Rita, I apologize.
Rita's from Algeria.
Shout out. Shout out to Algeria. Have you been to Algeria?
No.
You paused and I was like, try
um.
it. So let's get into a little bit of an edit. So you guys can see this is our whole reel. There were little things that really made sense when I was doing lifestyle work here, is making sure that each one of these fits. And so the women were supposed to be like, Morgan's a little bit sportier. She has her Nike Cortezes on, little ripped jean, big sneaker person. Sorry. And it was like more of a like modern woman look. Noemi is wearing this like high-waisted boot cut.
Yeah.
And I think personally, you do not have to get into everything, but understanding maybe what you're trying to do with each model or with each goal is really helpful for you as a photographer.
Yes.
And then we cut over, and I mean, there is no one like Rafa. She's wearing.
Oh my God, I love her. That would be my fit.
She's wearing like this loose skirt and these dock, like kind of high heel dock boots and a leather jacket with the hoop earrings. And Lid is rocking something a little closer to Noemi's, which is this kind of very interesting look. It's these Pumas, like hippie look. And the idea is like throughout, this brand is supposed to be for all of these women, like she said. Everyone's kind of in that age range of 26 to 30 here. And just being able to sit through that is important. So with that in mind, the location I picked was Park Slope, Brooklyn.
Love that.
So it's like, it's not like the most young thing, but it's not like the most old thing. It was kind of allowed the environment to sit. If you'll see here, we have some smiles. And then I also like to give room for my subjects to like express themselves.
Yes.
So sometimes I'll shoot and then I'll just pause and not say anything.
I love that.
And shoot through. And she had just started spelling it. And sometimes if you're working with somebody you don't know, one thing I like to do is if I was photographing you, I might have your partner behind me just talking to you. And right here what was happening was the other girls were telling her like, oh, you picked the best flowers. Like, what do they smell like? And she started giggling. And then it just worked in from there.
I love that.
And sometimes instead of cropping, stepping forward is kind of like how I like to shoot things.
Yeah, yeah.
But yeah, you guys can see like some stuff here. Like I had the moment, and then I got the next one passed.
Done.
And the next one, she's just kind of being silly. We tried some other stuff, and that didn't work as well because it wasn't as natural. And so that's kind of the goal that we got from her
and
before.
That's kind of what you have to do about like overshooting, kind of what you were talking about earlier. It's like it helps to like have a set of images that makes the one image stand out from the group. And it's, definitely.
And
very
so
fun.
here it's important that we're with people that are just reacting well. So you can see the difference in like, we're here, kind of a whatever photo. And then we move over to this like kind of big joy, another one, and letting people have the space to express themselves.
Yes.
And so leaving those moments in, working through and understanding like there's things that I definitely want to try, but I'm not the czar of it. Like I'm very much, I was listening to this yesterday. Oh my gosh. Being individual genius is overrated and unlikely. And so as I was working through this process, I made sure that the people I was shooting, I had a producer with me. She also wanted to include some things in her portfolio. So she was in charge of the money, of like making sure everything was planned out, and I had an assistant, so he was carrying stuff. And so sometimes I work with people to give myself the space to shoot when I want to.
Yeah.
Like, I don't know about you, but you remember when you graduated and like the first time you assisted a photographer, they're like, oh, I have like 6 assistants. And you're like, this guy's just lazy. And now you're like, oh no, this totally makes sense. Like someone's carrying the card, someone's backing everything up. And that just allows you to pay attention to these details to make sure that she knows to move her hair over to this side, that ring here needs to be turned all the way
yeah.
out, right? And so there's something I missed, but sometimes those things miss and they're fine.
And that's fine. Yeah, absolutely.
And so we took this vintage look, put it in front of a car, and so if you guys will see, I shot it flat like we talked about yesterday. And we got into here, so let's see
That's so beautiful.
if we have a.
Oh, that stare. Cute.
So here, let's take this guy. So hold on, let me get a little wider one. I think I edited all of these because I love them so much.
Yeah, they're beautiful.
So
Leo says nothing better than organic joy.
Totally.
Yeah, I get that from these images.
Absolutely, I feel great about them. So here, the first thing I would do is I want to look and make sure that Noemi in particular, that I'm seeing detail in her hair. Often when we shoot black people, darker skinned people, or people with darker hair, your camera is always trying to, what's the word? Is always trying to get exposed to 18% or 11% gray. And so sometimes that means that this gray works right here, but it might think that this is black. And if you think about like look at how great your hair looks today. Like if I just robbed you of that texture by like deciding that only the parts that were highlights decided to be exposed.
Yeah.
So I would first look at that, and so that would really talk to me about, like, let's say I wanted to start, we're a little flat, so I might add a little bit of, actually, we can do this today actually. We can go over, click on this little guy and add to our curves.
Ooh,
so the way the curves work is pretty simple. Let me add this little guy.
I'm curious about this because I use curves, but I don't understand why it works the way it works.
Oh my gosh, she lying, bro. She's real
no, I
professional.
literally don't.
So up here in this corner is this little histogram. If I remember properly, the left side are the blacks and the right side are the whites. And so when you go through here, let's set a couple points on this guy. You see that, like I said, the blacks are on that side. If I start to curve it, you see how the blacks are getting stronger and stronger and stronger. You can see it up here, and you can also see it in the image. Well, the ideal thing you want to make is like an S curve. So let's get rid of that guy in the middle. We want to make our brights a little bit brighter. And so you guys will see how now, you see how the wider points are just they're sliding over. These brighter points are getting a little bit. But basically it allows you to have like more intelligent contrast. We're going to pull down a little. And now we have a little bit of some dynamicism, right? From this to this. It's a little too much. So let me, especially that dark, let me bring it back a little. And then as I move this
Tim's like, histogram, curves, contrast. Now you're talking my language.
Well, Tim, we do what we can. But you can see as you move this point closer, you're really you're in control of more of the darkest of blacks. So let's move this guy a little further up, and then let's try to operate in this space of this like square right here. These 4 ones. Oh, sorry. It's okay. Like these 4 right here. So that way, we add a little bit without it being crazy. So now that same I worry I had about her hair is back. So like we talked about yesterday, I would go over to my selective adjust. Let me make the size not crazy. Sorry, there we go. And just run over this point. And with the feather, I know that I can be a little bit messier because it's not going to take it exactly at its word. I'm going to sneeze. I apologize. That was weird. Like I had sentience about it. So we go along here, and this is really important to me because I want everything to look like it should. And so now we have that selected. We just want to bring these shadows up slightly.
So you see how see that texture.
So you see how this hair is changing? And so that's inaccurate. That's crazy. This is where we were. So we just want to give it a little bit of that. Next step, now that I've kind of changed this contrast, this day, especially Lydia's hair is really orange. I want to go over to my color mix tool and make sure that this original, her skin isn't this saturated. It's not this bright. And so I want to go over to my saturation on the orange and just maybe bring it down just slightly and increase my luminance so that when I press and hold, this is closer to what her skin tone was.
Okay.
So like, we were here, now we're here. So you'll see that her face is just getting a little bit less orange.
Yes, I saw that.
And so with that, now I have something that feels like it makes sense, right? I feel pretty good about it. I went from here to here. Let's say I think this blue is a little too deep. I want it to stay vintage. I can go over to this cyan, which is closer to that color. You see as I'm moving it, how things are changing. That little fade looks good. We'll make that a little brighter too. And so now we're back to this image. So we're most of the way there now. So now we like have our base. And now I want to work on lid a little bit. So another thing I'd like to do is sometimes we always like love bumping contrast. And I'm not telling you to do that here. We definitely work on the curves, but if we go either way on the contrast, you'll see how sometimes you kind of flatten things out. So I like how Noemi is, but I think we have a little too much craziness in Lid's hair. And by craziness, I just mean like, it's like a little too punchy. I feel like I want my viewers looking and they're coming into the image like this. Sorry, there's like no way for me to hold this. Maybe this way. And I want them to kind of run through and everything to feel like it should. And so I would, oh, sorry, I forgot. I wanted to add a little clarity and texture. I'm gonna make this a touch brighter.
Yeah.
And then over in her hair, I'm gonna go back, add for this. Just give us, get this little lines mane going. I just wanna come down a little so that, hold on. Oops, sorry. Let me make sure that
It's so interesting seeing all these like little fine adjustments.
So you see how over here, if its contrast is really up, you'll see how our hair is like more dark than red. If it comes down a little, it just gives you, it's a little softer. That's kind of how I would want to do it. Let me see what, yeah. And then I just want to add a little highlights and give it that level of detail so we can kind of run through. Oh, yes, awesome. I'm trying to, I guess, go off. Featherstone the 4th. There are 3 other Featherstones. That's lit. I'm a big fan. I wish that was my last name. So now we're here. We're in a good spot. We feel good. I still think this is a little too saturated, so I might bring my saturation down a little and increase my vibrance. And then just add a touch of warmth because I really like this like warm palette. I think that both Lid and Noemi have like warmer tones. And so I really kind of like where we were, so we went from here to here. Let's bring these shadows up a little. But now we have like something that feels a little cinematic, a little like where we were at. Another thing that we can play with is, I didn't do this that time, but we could look at what our vintage guys look like. Too much. And remember, as we go through and look at these, we talked about finding things that feel accurate. But also remember down here, the slider lets you adjust the intensity.
Which is so nice.
And so actually what's nice about this is, obviously this would be, I mean, this is, someone's trying to sell stuff. Like, come on now.
Yeah.
I mean, like, this is, come on. But I do like how this is handling that brown. So we might not do it this time, but if we look through these guys,
we did do a little bit of it yesterday.
We did a little bit of it yesterday, so we don't
watch
need to
the
do
replay of that.
I just wanted you guys to know that I want everyone to be aware that these are here, and as a reminder,
these are all in Lightroom already.
Yes,
which is awesome.
And so, as a reminder, you don't have to. Wow, I just went through all these guys. You don't have to use these at all, but the idea behind them is profiles are kind of your base camera setting, and it colors things out the way that you want them to. Or you can try different colors, and it is what you start at. Versus when you put a preset on, you can still like adjust it. This you put it in, you adjust the intensity, and that is your base of your image.
Got it. When you create like edits on one image, are you the type of person that will like, you know, copy them and then replace them and everything else, and then make finer adjustments on those ones?
So let's take this image of Morgan. This is the original.
I love that.
This is our final. And so
how did
over
she get
here,
up there?
she climbed her happy butt up there with everybody else. Let's see if I find a photo. Yeah, she got up there.
Oh my gosh.
And so once I found an edit that I liked, for me here, let's look at the original. The thing that I did was I wanted these pink, like the pink to like really pop here. You'll see that I brought my exposure down, but more importantly, I brought these highlights down. So if you look at this original, we're very bright over here and we're lacking like a good dynamic range. You're seeing here, I probably burned in her hair a little. So you'll see how her hair went from like kind of to like really giving that really nice range of things. And so starting by bringing down those highlights was really important to me because as the sun was maybe getting a little stronger, she's in these leaves though, so everything's kind of breaking it up. And as I'm editing, I wanted to make sure this pink looked right. And so I bet you anything, I brought the saturation of the pink down, but then I also made them a little redder. So you can see how, like, if I move this around, you see how the colors change.
Yeah.
I wanted it to look and feel like when you're in those DC flower blossoms. Ooh, cherry blossoms. Almost lost my life.
Oh my gosh.
I'm kidding.
Don't.
No, it's fine. And then the saturation, although it doesn't seem to make sense, it was too overpowering over here. And so I brought it down so that it was nice and even, and it provided a setting, but it wasn't overpowering. And so your question was about like batch editing, and so after I finished something that I liked, something that I really like to do, first of all, really quick, in colors, after we talked about our color wheel and color mixing, over here, the temperature we always think about when we're like indoors, but tint is actually really important, and you can see that I actually brought this tint over. So like, let's look at what this looked like before. So this image is fine, and it's browner, but if we're talking about putting something, in a place where it feels that level of playful she talked about, adding this little bit of pink I thought was really nice because it was still within her color range, but you felt like she was being enveloped, and the whole point of this is Earth Day.
Yeah.
So after I found that edit, like,
I love it because I feel like it's also with the flowers and everything, it's kind of given this like bloom, like,
her hair looks great in it.
Blooming in the sense of like women empowerment, like blooming where you were planted, but then also having, this whole Earth Day theme around it, which is cool.
So you brought up this really big point, and good point. You can copy your edits in Lightroom and you can paste them on multiple things. You can do it on mobile, you can do it on desktop, you can do it on iPad, you can do it on whatever other thing that I don't know exists. And so over here, I hit these, I'm in the edit panel, I hit these three little dots, go to copy settings, and then like here, I can choose to even add in my adjustments. I have those turned off because almost never would I like adjust a part of your face and then, you always, someone's positioned differently. It's not gonna work.
Yeah.
Geometry is the same thing. I don't normally keep that on. And then when I hit check, then everything's copied. So then let's say, okay, so let's go back to filter by. Let's go to edited. Let's get some non-edited images. And let's take these that I didn't like. So, I was trying to be cute. I thought it'd be cool if she was reaching for some stuff. Here's actually Lid jumping out of the tree. And so here's some ones I didn't like, but let's select them. To select, originally you press and hold one, and then you can click a couple. Then down here, you'll see you have options as add to, which allows you to organize the images, or move to, which will move in a different place, or paste. Then it'll say, you sure you want to paste these settings to 10 photos? It can't be undone. It can be undone on each image, but the batch action is permanent in the way that Lightroom is permanent. So give it a second. It's loading everything, rendering everything, and then now you see the images are disappearing because they're going from edited to non-edited. We'll hit done. Then we're going to go over back in our filter by, go to edited, and then all of a sudden we have all these extra images that we didn't actually choose, but you'll see are in the same vein as these other guys. And so,
Jan Eric, thanks for plugging that in. Yep, you can get the photography plan, Lightroom and Photoshop for
you can.
$10 a month, I believe. So
you can trade all 100 of your stickers for that.
Yeah, exactly.
I don't know if that's true. I don't know that. I'm so sorry. Do you guys have any questions? I don't want to go too fast. And I got into it a little bit. I was excited to hang up my homie.
No, this is awesome. Yeah, if you have any questions relating to photography, client work, I know there's a big difference between personal work and client work. and doing all that stuff. Yeah, feel free to ask questions. And just as a reminder too, in about half an hour, we'll be doing portfolio reviews. So make sure you submit your portfolio if you want to get some feedback from Aundre. Yeah, we have a little button portfolio review above the chat, so make sure to go submit your
Dude,
Behance
the integration is crazy in here.
Yeah.
And so if you guys see, these are literally images that you just saw, right?
Cute.
And they serve the purpose of like actually doing something that's helpful. And so just to kind of run through when you're thinking about lifestyle stuff, for me it's like, okay, the clothes are important because they need to look a certain way. But then also, if you keep scrolling, you'll see people want to see how they fit on you. And that's kind of why lifestyle is important, because you're seeing what the spirit of the piece is, what the piece looks like, but then more importantly, how does it fit? Like, everyone's body is different. And so we're looking through that. That's the shirt you liked. And so I just wanted to show you guys that in that spot. This was another kind of thing that we really wanted to do. Becky really loved this shirt. Oh, Denise said, if you have a yearly subscription to Photoshop, is there an app on the iPad for Lightroom or Photoshop? Denise, yes, there is an iPad app for Lightroom and Photoshop.
Cool.
Oh, I almost opened the Photoshop that no one could see. Sorry. Sorry. I rolled over and I was like, oh no. It was called Project Rocket before, and this guy was over here, and I was like, nope.
Yeah, both Photoshop and Lightroom apps are
Photoshop
included.
is right here.
That's incredible.
And here's some like things
I love
I
how
pulled
seamless everything is.
And so yeah, Photoshop is here. You can use your cloud storage and work through things, and you can also import and export things. So it says import and open from files. You can put in a PSD or whatever, and it'll work from there. And you can also, I learned from the Apple folks this week, excuse me, you can, oh my gosh, you can plug in an external and use the Files app to find what you need, and so you can still work.
So
Jan
cool.
Eric says, how do you sync your presets over Lightroom? Wait. Oh, sorry, Jan Eric, 1 second. Denise, where it says, it has, so this has layers panel, so let's just open this. Sorry, I should have had some, you know what, I'll just open a new file. I'm not gonna download that one. Go to import from camera roll. Let me go down to my Lightroom folder and get something that I know is like at least not horrible. 1 second.
So fun.
Oh, you know what? Yeah, let's use one of these kids. I love this. I shot BTS for this McDonald's commercial, and it was super fun.
That's so fun.
So yeah, let's do this one.
Cool.
It'll load up in 1 quick second. And so everything's working out. They had this scene where they were playing basketball against a male lady.
Oh.
And let me say that the male uniform is possibly the most unflattering thing ever. She talked to me later when she changed, and I was like, who are you? She was like, hey. I was like, I don't know what you're talking about. So over here are your layers. You can also have like the smarter open version. So this is just letting you know what layer you're on, but this gives you more details into it.
Very cool.
Here you have your layer actions. So lock, rename, like all the things that you're used to. Duplicate.
Desktop app.
No, so not actually everything is in here, but they're building it slowly.
Got it.
Here, this is your add layer. This is turning off the visibility, layer mask, like all things that you're used to. Linking your layers, and then your properties of your layers. And so, you know, that's there. One thing that's nice about this is here you'll see that it has this little circle that lets you know that, that lets you know that you have a layer mask on it. There's just little things that when you open the app for the first time, it'll walk you through. Also, these little tabs on the side let you know that there are other tools, so you press and hold and you can see things. And so the use of pressure is really happy. Oh, Denise, you just the wrong app. Okay, sorry then, my bad. I just figured it would be helpful to show it.
We have a couple other questions too. Asa says, what personal projects are you excited to be working on?
Oh, okay, so I worked on a music video at the end of last year with two really good friends of mine. And it's gonna come out, I think, at the end of this month, or maybe, it's like a sad indie boy song, so maybe it's gonna come out around Valentine's Day. that was really interesting for me because I haven't really directed something before.
Okay.
Like little stuff, like
Yeah.
like some client video for whatever, but it was a really like awesome experience for me.
That's really cool.
So like a lot of times when I shoot BTS for these film sets, I've really taken time to try to like really like stick near the directors and like listen, like how he gives direction, what kind of things he's asking for. Oh yeah, Denise, no worries, we are here to help you. And so I'm sorry that I just went like deep into something that wasn't exactly what you wanted, but just so everybody can see it, this is Photoshop on the iPad and it's great. So, you know, in that, this year I want to do more video work.
That's awesome.
And so the practice of, and I think it makes me better at a lot of things, practice of being able to articulate everything you need, because with video, like after it's shot, it's it. It's done. There's no like, it's over.
Yeah.
And so being able to communicate my needs, be able to ask people to walk through things again, to like try to understand depth. Like we think a lot about depth in photography. So for example, my mom bought me this book when I was in high school. It was called The Filmmaker's Eye. My mom's big of like, oh, you like something? Here's a book about it. She's like, yo, figure this out. Read this book. And so depth is a thing that you're used to in films. You see a lot without thinking. So there's depth in this image. You can tell there's a large amount of space between him and these other people. And you can see the shoulder of the person he's playing basketball against.
Yeah.
And that depth allows you to fully understand where this person is in space. And I think a lot of times having depth in images is really helpful because that context is pretty good. With this image, you can't tell a lot's going on, but you can tell that they're playing basketball. You can tell that some of them are taking a break and that his opponent is right over here, his shoulder.
Cool. And then we have another question from Everett. What is your export settings for web? Lots of good questions, you guys. Thank you.
It's like Photoshop heard us. It was like, are you ready? Saving your work. I was like, yo, chill. Like, jeez. So here what's nice is if I'm, it really depends.
Yeah, because Lightroom and then Photoshop are different too as far as exporting.
And web is different. So if I'm exporting something that I know will be used for like a publication, I ask them for what their like largest settings are.
Yeah.
If you can, you want to get your highest DPI. I'm not saying like you're not busting out like 300 and whatever, but the very lowest you should be at is 72. Like there's no question, or your image will not only look pixelated, it'll look kind of strange.
Yeah.
Depending on where you are on web is really important. So on Twitter, it's a 2x1. So this works really well. I just realized that I don't have this turned on. I wonder if I can turn it on here. Hold on. Touch indicator, there we go. Okay, so now you can see what I'm doing. Sorry about that. Oh, here we go. So you can see where I'm touching. When you're exporting, 2x1 meaning that it's a 2 up here and by 1. And so if I open Twitter, I'll re-export things a lot on social because each one's different. So you'll notice here when I was showing y'all my darker skin tones thing yesterday. So we're on my Twitter, follow it if you want. 2x1, this is actually a portrait image, right? And so I knew that I wanted to put text here using Adobe Spark at the top point where the 2x1 is, so that when someone scrolls by it, they know exactly what they're looking at. But if I, for example, did the same thing here, if I did the same thing on this image, then it would, I wouldn't have to worry about it. It could just read right here because that's how Twitter takes it. But we talked about Instagram yesterday. Instagram uses a 4x5 format, and so having the export ready for that. I always, like, if I can, put things really, really big, as big as possible, and then import from there. So for Instagram, I don't like resize for web, but if I, like, normally if I have a story, I'll wait, or for a client for web, I'll ask them what they need exactly, and then I'll use the Lightroom or Photoshop export settings on the desktop, and then share it over to them from there. So it just really depends. Alberto asked, can you post social media from Spark? I think so. I don't normally do, I just export.
Yeah, I don't usually use Spark that often, but maybe that's a question for Tim.
Let me see.
He always knows everything.
I should have Spark here. Every Adobe app ever.
Cool.
You know what? I might actually have it on my phone. Let me see. Spark post. I'm almost 100% sure you can post from this, but let me just double check. And in case you guys think that I'm joking, I use Spark all the time. It ends up working out really well for me. So we're in Spark Post right now. Let me just show you, I clicked on it. And so like I did a model call here. Sometimes I make little contact sheets for clients. And then let's say,
Very fun.
yeah, so you guys can see literally this is all the work that we saw here on Twitter. I made it in Spark. So like, look.
Wow.
There we are right there.
There you are.
But let's say that we want to take this image of Jahari. Yeah, you can post directly here, Facebook, Twitter, Instagram. I'm not sure if it's connected. It might just push it over to the app. But
Cool.
that's fine.
Yeah.
Does that answer that question? I feel
so.
like, were there other ones that I missed?
I think that was pretty much it.
Okay,
Yeah.
great.
So maybe we'll get back to
Yeah.
Lightroom.
We'll get back to Lightroom. Thank you guys. Sorry to
Go off on
run
a
over
tangent.
I just wanted to make sure. So for these, I thought a lot about motion, my individual images of some of the women I wanted to make sure. Can you schedule from Spark, Alberto? No, I don't think you can. I don't know. I personally don't like scheduling stuff because later, if you post something and something's wrong with it, you like don't know until later, and it's just not like it's not a good situation.
Yeah, for sure.
So anyway, the questions were answered. Am I going too fast? Anyone have anything else they're curious about?
I think
Please let
you're
me know.
good.
And so
I'll interrupt you when there's a question.
please, this is your show. I'm just
No,
walking
this is
out.
your show.
So
I love this. This is so beautiful.
a couple things. I love red to green. I love it so much. If you guys are real fans of mine, if you really go deep on my Instagram, there's a lot of these just complementary colors. I'm gonna try to pull it really quick because I want to talk to you guys about how I feel about color. And so I love a soft pink, which we've talked about before. This was just absolutely perfect for me, just like nice kind of LA like city light. But let me pull this out. I love a red and green. I think it's a really powerful two things. It like really standds out to me. And so I'll always like work on that. I have my orange hoodie on today, like a warm to a cool. Where do we go? I thought it was here. And honestly, I had it open and then we passed that period of time. Yeah, I love
That's beautiful.
a green to a red. There should be one more right in here.
Oh yeah, I just saw one.
Oh yeah, I passed it.
Yeah. That one. Oh, that's so beautiful.
And so when you guys look, it's something that I'll always work on and always try to include. And here, I actually really like the idea of not containing everything in the frame. I wanted it to feel like a happy accident.
Yeah.
And so when we shot through these,
I mean, the shirt says it all.
we'll go by info and we'll see I shot it at the 500th of a second. When you're capturing extreme motion, I don't even know if this counts as extreme. When you're counting motion, you want to be over to a 200th of a second. But like, I know you shoot a lot of studio stuff. So studio, fun fact, you don't want to shoot over a 200th.
Yes.
Because then the
Because
lights
then
won't
it
be able to move
makes-
fast enough.
Yeah.
So you have these like weird, like,
I didn't know that one of my first like studio shoots, and I was like, "Oh my god, what am I doing wrong? What's
bro, that panic,
happening?"
there's nothing like that
It
panic.
was a panic, like straight panic, and I was like profusely sweating, and I was like, "Oh my gosh!" But then I figured it out, and then it was all good. So don't shoot anything above 200, so to speak.
So this one might be the one that like fits the most of the thing, but I really love this one because it's coming down for a moment and it feels very like at ease. You'll see that, I go back to edit. You'll see that we were a lot flatter, and then we went, I'm pretty sure I used a different Adobe profile, the vintage ones that we looked at, because I thought that when we work through these, we want to like just have this sense of really making it up as I go, right?
Yeah.
And I even tried
absolutely.
here and just realized that I thought that although this was a stronger green, that the red wasn't as powerful as I think it could be.
Yeah, absolutely.
So that's kind of how I want to think about color. I also love shooting things with like a sense of a plate, like, you know, understanding your place in the world. So let's take this guy and let's go back to original. So if we hit down here, this little thing called back, and you can go return all the way to import. here, immediately I'd go into color, go to my greens, and like make them
Bump them up.
more appealing. So you'll see how if you bring them out, they look a little more luminous. And even here, now she's stepping out. Like, look how these greens are immediately different.
Yeah.
And then, now that I know they're in a good spot, I can bring up my contrast. And knowing that there's detail in Morgan's hair and that her skin is a little bit lighter, I can work from this without any fear and like understand that, actually, we'll bring our friend back.
Yeah, that's so beautiful. I love how the environment is like engulfing her too. It's like
That's super important to me.
Yeah.
I love that idea, or like just the knowledge that we as humans are really fragile and small.
Yeah.
And so now here we are. It might be a little strong, but we are now in this moment that's like very powerful. We're like leaning into this beautiful light that's coming and washing over her face. So keep in mind when you're shooting portraits is if you're losing some light on someone's face, you can move their hair. If they're wearing a hat, you can have them push it up a little. So like, for example, if I have this hood on, you guys will see, obviously you see the shadow, right? And even if this hoodie is the product that we're marketing, we need to make sure that the people looking at it can see themselves, especially if something you're selling or if the client is selling, they can see themselves in the subject. And so like, as cool as it would be to be like, yo, like whatever, I think even just moving it further back so that you can still see a face.
Yes.
Like when you meet people, if you think the things that you always look at first are right in their eyes, you can like establish a feeling of trust or self-reflection or whatever through that.
Yeah, definitely. That's so fun. I kept, the whole time we were putting on your hoodie, I kept thinking about the You. Do you watch You?
I don't watch You, but
But
every day on Twitter,
the cap,
people
and it's
tweet.
like, it's so like eerie, right?
Oh, yeah, I'm not about that life.
So I like that you pointed out, like, you know, eye contact and like, there's just little things that you can do to make things look more, you know, appealing.
Yeah. And sometimes, I mean, she doesn't have eye contact here, but
No,
this is a sense
but-
that we can get a feeling on.
Yeah.
Other things that I liked
Serenity,
about
kind of
this,
peaceful.
this blue is really nice and targeting for us. It comes down, you'll see that everyone changed. We found bathrooms. We actually went to the public library, went to the bathroom because that was easier. Here you'll see that we have them positioned together, and it worked out here where Lydia's hair, so look at that pop, that green is nice.
So
And there's like an overall sense of like calm blues going on. But
when you've got like, you know, you've got different sets of images in the shoot, are you the type of person that will apply like a, you know, the same edits over through all of them, or
No,
will
I
you
do
kind
it-
of keep it
I do it based on the clumps
based on
of
the
groups.
set? Okay.
So like this is a little bit warmer of a set, and although I liked their positioning, you'll see that for whatever reason we were starting to get like some shadow on their face.
Yeah.
So we kind of lost some of that like this that we wanted. And so our differences here, even in these guys, we're like kind of fighting a little bit of, you can see that it being kind of dark and flat. And
Oh, Eric Sue says, really good photo.
oh, thanks, Eric. Shout out to Alberto, working in marketing. And even some of these were different because like here you'll see,
Yeah, you're right.
you'll see that she's halfway underneath this like awning thing. I love that I'm like ducking into it. Like, sorry.
I do that all the time too.
You'll see that her hair is getting hit differently under this tent,
Yes.
which is this part, and then outside of it. And so understanding that.
I like that you're explaining a lot too about like skin tones.
Oh, hey man, we're out here.
Yeah, I think that's super important because, I mean,
Here's
you
a
know,
random dog. I'm
love
told people like dogs. But sorry, continue.
No, yeah, it's just like explaining like certain things about different skin tones and how they work in photography and how the camera captures. Yeah. Very
So,
cool.
chipper things, we got it. And so, with that in mind, I'm going to show you guys a couple other client things that I've done so that you can understand. And I'm going to try to like lay the mental groundwork
As
for
far
it.
as like when you are talking to a client, are you the type of person that likes to get a lot of information, a lot of direction, or do you like to like what's the style, like, if you know, as a photographer, what do you like from a client to tell you to like help you with your shoot?
I want the client to explain what they need
Okay.
And I want them to let me know what like the non-negotiables are and what the things that are flexible are.
Okay. Oh yeah, I like that.
Because when they say like, hey, we need an image, so this is something I shot for Architecture Magazine, and I actually really want to point these out because
Oh my God, I love him.
I thought about this. Yeah, he was such a nice
so
man. He
cute.
was so nice.
Oh.
Such a, like this was in this dark, like random office building. Really nice old man, but they just said we just need one portrait of him in your style, and that was it. And so we went into his room, and I loved that he had this like beautiful ring, and like
Yes.
I was
Oh
obsessed.
my God, he's amazing. These profiles though.
And so but when you shoot people, you have to remember like he's a little older, he's a little bit of a belly, so maybe I want him to stand up. But I don't know, maybe he thinks that he likes other versions of himself better.
Yeah.
And so everything that we worked on, we're
my
all kind of
gosh.
depending on what he was comfortable with.
Yeah.
But for this, I had a lot of latitude versus
Yeah.
like
What equipment did you use to shoot this?
we just shot it in this. This was just like an office building and an empty conference room, a really small
A lot
one,
of
like
light.
definitely smaller than this. No, it was actually it wasn't that
Oh really?
great of a
Did you
day.
use studio light or? No.
I actually bumped my ISO up to 1600, and
okay.
then
Oh, shout out to Vadim coming from Russia, saying hello from Russia. So fun.
Oh, for some reason it's like loaded, but it's not loaded. Hold on. You can see. Hey,
I know,
Vadim.
the wheel of death.
I'm not sure what's happening. I had this like loaded early to show you guys. Maybe this guy will work. No, it's gonna take a second. Okay, well maybe we'll try the other. Let's try Aaron Sorkin. So his office was a lot brighter. You'll see that there's actually like a little bit of a change in geometry. I use this thing called constrain and crop. So sometimes, I need a good example of this to show you guys. One like tiny little helpful feature that they have in Lightroom is this thing called constrain crop, and like auto edit. So these, for example, I did this for a client. You can see that this is a little bit flatter than how I like my work, but this is how they want everything to be. But let's say,
Wow, these are beautiful.
do you like cats? Here we go.
I mean, yeah.
So
That
let's say
cat,
for this,
I want that
let's say
one.
for this image, I wasn't sure about how this should look.
Oh my God, I love this position. So cute.
I'll have to wait for this to load. Yeah, I'm not really sure what's going on here. I had like, because you can, really quick, while this is loading, over here you guys can, these little blue checks mean that you downloaded it locally. And so I use this, this a lot, Lightroom on the iPad when I'm flying on planes or like in a place where it's just easier because I can just sit up with it in an easier position than I can with my whole laptop. And just kind of work through stuff. And so if I made the selects early on my phone, like we talked about, and then I have it loaded on my iPad, then I can like work through my edits from there. And then when I get back to Wi-Fi, it'll sync up. So
That's smart.
where'd that little guy go? Okay. So you guys can see the changes I made over here in this corner. Like I said, this client wanted everything to be super flat. So you'll see first of all that there's this little distortion if you look at that bottom leg of it. Here, let me see. Oh. Can I not make it smaller? Okay. You guys will see if I have it over here. How that right corner is changing. So what I did there was I went, you guys will see, click this guy. You see that I brought the
Tim's being
contrast
funny.
down.
Does this mean I'm also downloaded locally?
Yes.
Yes.
You'll see that I made it a lot bluer. So like the original.
Because it's really warm over on that
See how warm it was? But they wanted everything to be like really white. But if we pushed it too far, then it looked really unnatural, right?
Yeah.
And so we kept it a little warm. And then from there, we just made it brighter. And if you want to see the area, you can see what I painted in there.
Oh, yeah.
Drew that in.
Nice.
And then made it brighter, brought the contrast down, and worked from there just to give it this like more normal look. And then on this side, what I was trying to bring up is in geometry. This is a really smart way to kind of set everything up you want. So you can vertically distort. So like in case something weird's going on and you want to try to fix it, you can horizontally distort. But you can see how like as you do that, look at how this lamp is changing. It's almost like you're working around it. But the thing I would actually tell you to do is if you go to upright and go to auto, you see how it's trying to line up based on like a bunch of lines intelligently, and then you hit constrain crop, it'll crop everything so that it fits into the frame.
Wow.
There's other stuff in here that I don't fully understand, like X and Y offset, but rotate is rotate, as you can imagine. And the thing that's nice is when you start to engage these things, they have this grid that comes up so that you can have a better understanding of exactly what you're lining up. Because what these things are doing are trying to work on this line, this line, this line, this line, this line, and try to make everything look as it should. And so, like I said, this was a different project for me because it was a little bit flatter. So you'll see even here, I might have been more encouraged to like punch this, but their style is like very gray and very like peaceful.
Yeah.
And so
this kind of not necessarily editing, but like when you're shooting, like how do you communicate with the models? What's your like communication style?
Oh yeah, and so this project was interesting
so
because
that you capture what you are looking for. I don't know, because I feel like it's so important when you're talking to somebody to like, you know, because then you're gonna view these in Lightroom later and like something.
You want to make sure that they feel like they trust you.
Yeah.
And so with these folks, these are people that were customers of this furniture company. And so when I came, I just like said, hey, you know, it's nice to meet you. I'm here to just take portraits of you and your space. And so in this case, I'd ask them like, what are their favorite spaces in the home? Like you want to put people in places where they feel like they are, not a home court advantage, but they feel really confident. And so in that confidence, they are more likely to open up to you. And so I had him show me some of his records and this like beautiful room of art he had.
Oh, I love that.
We had met before at a different thing. And when I walked into her house, I was like, oh, hey. And they were like, oh, her name is Fola. She's lovely. Mother seekers just take pictures of cool people. She's really comfortable on her body and just getting photographed. Alan was really proud of his space, so it was really nice to show it to him. And then I would sometimes like, you want to see how people choose to sit and rest themselves, and then you give them light directions. And if they have a hard time like understanding it, you want to mirror it for them. So you're like, hey, could you brush your hair back, or could you turn this way and try to explain it? So like, I would ask you maybe to brush your hair back on one side because I want to see the detail of your face, so that the viewer can know where your face starts and your hair ends. And when you explain it that way, people are like, oh, okay. All right, well, I'll try it. And then if they don't know, you shoot them and then you show it to them. And if they hate it, then you don't use it.
Yeah. That's good advice for sure. Cool.
Do you guys have questions? Thanks, Carol.
I want to remind you guys, 5 minutes until portfolio review, so make sure to submit your portfolios to get some feedback from Aundre.
Absolutely.
Cool. I love these images, though. They're beautiful.
Yeah, these are really nice people, and it's cool to be in people's houses.
It's interesting, too, that it was like a challenge, or not a challenge, but it was different from what you kind of are normally used to as far as making it less contrasted, I guess, or more like bright. Yeah, for sure.
Sorry. Got a little distracted. I want to show you guys something else that shows you that everything you see on Instagram isn't everything people are doing.
Yeah.
There is a lovely... it's like a business incubator for like tech in New York, really close to my house, called New Lab. And they have all these interesting things. So like there's a company in there that he makes this thing called a light phone. And so here's a product image I took for them. They hired me and I went through and took images of all their employees. And it was a crazy day. We used some strobe lights, some not. And then we like went ahead and lit through stuff that felt like, I'm not futuristic, but basically like gave them the opportunity to show that they exist in the space and they're learning and who they are. So every single one of these shoots was different, and I can tell you it was a little stressful, but I just wanted to show you like, here's an example of like different ways that I might shoot things. And so, there's like these little dog spots, which are a New York brand that's really important. Here's a company that grows things indoors. It was really important for me to be able to use color mix here because, let me have to wait for these guys to pop up. Let me make it a little easier. You guys will see the difference and change. So you even see that these highlights are down so they make a little more sense. This purple's less dominant.
yeah.
You can see your face. And this isn't the greatest photo I've taken, but understanding that what the client needed and how to tell that is important. So actually, the one I wanted to show you was the stuff from day 2. I liked a little bit better. So we'll go over to edited. You guys will see we did one with this company that was making this little tool that allows people to charge and help them like bike uphill.
Oh.
And so he was super kind, and like this isn't supposed to be something that's this highfalutin shoot. And so I shot him here, and then here we did a little pan shot, so you guys can see that there's a lot of blurring happening, but that's the nature of a bike. Then we had this guy who I joked was going to destroy us all. He's teaching robots how to be more precise, and I was like, bruh.
Oh my gosh.
He was like, oh, well, I'm teaching a robot how to guesstimate. And I was like, you are the worst human.
Oh my gosh.
But we moved around and tried different stuff. So here, we're actually in a really dark room. Like, imagine this room with no light. And I took a strobe light, and I pointed it at the ceiling. And so just a little fun fact, something you can do is, like, here, I can show you. So let's say this laptop is my ceiling, right? Normally, you're seeing how it's casting this shadow. But if I add a light to it, you'll see that, like, basically as it gets closer, this is acting as a softbox. And so by pointing light at the ceiling, it comes down more evenly, and you'll see throughout, just like when we're looking at the Chipper Things images, that on his face, you can't really see a point of shadow because the light is coming down evenly. And then here we actually tried and moved the light separately, but you can still tell the light's coming from above because of how it's hitting this part of his head. Here we did the same thing. We lit from the right side and shot it into the wall, and you can tell because on this side of Stephanie's face, it's a little bit brighter. And this was a company that was, tasting coffee. This is a really standard portrait. This woman kind of makes stuff that's hard to describe. It's like traffic tech. And then this guy made like a Mars rover. So he had that. More of the dog woman. Just to kind of give you an idea, like you can make all sorts of things. Also, make sure you test shoot with yourself. These guys made an electric motorcycle. And so we put it all over the place. They're super cool looking. And so you had them outside using it. You have it out in space, have this nice like orange texture to provide some interest. But yeah, I just wanted to point out like, I've never posted any of these photos, and it doesn't mean that they're bad. It's just an example of like, you can work on the idea, like the main idea thing that we've been talking about, and like put it in context for somebody. Rob is back. Rob is an emotional terrorist. What's up, Rob? If you guys don't know, Robzilla is, this is my sister and Rob is my father. And all is well. Terry White is my grandfather, my grandfather. And as we are running out of time to pop into stuff, I wanted to leave you all with this one image that I loved, because I know how much you guys, we were talking about foreground, background, and color.
Yes.
I did this for this Sarasota hotel and put this beautiful flower right in front of my camera lens, like this. And just allowed that color to run through and like give you a good sense of where you're at. And that flower, in case you were curious, looks just like this. So I tested it this morning, and then, I mean, not this morning, then, and put it right in front.
Yeah. Awesome. All right. Well, we are ready to do the portfolio reviews.
Whoa.
So we will be right back.
Whoa.
And we're back. Woo.
What? What is happening? You gotta take a video. This is
like
crazy.
my favorite part. All right. Well, we are ready to do some portfolio reviews.
This is hilarious. My head is so big.
Is this safe? It's safe now. Okay, cool.
Oh, I can breathe now?
You can breathe now. Awesome. So let's head over to our first,
Just gonna hold it like this.
First creative. We are here. We're looking at Kirsty Hepworth. Thank you so much for submitting your portfolio.
What up, Kirsty?
What up, Kirsty?
Kirsty from
Say
the
hi in the
UK.
chat if you are here. We are reviewing your portfolio right now. So let's see it. She is over in the United Kingdom. mainly uses Photoshop and Lightroom, and he's got a couple of projects that we'll just like dive right in. Let's see. Okay, this one looks kind of fun. This oil painted bird. Ooh, wow, that's amazing.
I thought this was a photo.
I thought it was a photo too, unless it's like originally a photo and then she like kind of messed with it and added all these like fun textures.
This is crazy. No, I don't think so, because you're seeing even like brushwork here and here.
Yeah.
Here, let's look at this full screen. Oh no, that didn't do it.
That's Pinterest.
I'm sorry.
Whoops.
I misunderstood what that was.
That's okay.
I shouldn't be touching your stuff.
You shouldn't be touching your stuff. There we go. There we go.
Let's click through some of these. I want to now get a sense of what kind of work she does.
I think this might be the only one for this one. But kind of seems like it's just a lot of like animal stuff. So maybe, but that's, I mean, I love the detail here. This is really cool. I don't know what, if she uses maybe like those filter or like, you know, in Photoshop. But let's see. Here's another one. Creative light.
It's good texture here. Between, yeah, it is super lo-fi. You're right. Eric, sorry, it is super lo-fi. I'm just reading it and reacting. Between these clouds, like you feel like you are really in the middle of a 1950s film.
Yeah.
In a good way.
Yeah, it looks like a film shot. I mean, if it is, that's awesome. It looks great. Very fun. Ooh, okay.
Okay,
We've got
super
some
interesting.
little swirls. It
And so
looks
we're
like
seeing
from the same scene, from the same place, but some texture.
So this might give us context. So I'm assuming with that the duck was an image that was then illustrated on and not created in the opposite direction. And so these are important. Maybe we missed it, but it's important on your portfolio to talk about what skills you use or what your general like ethos is as a photographer. So when people come in not knowing you, they can assess your work.
Yes. So having some information before your work to kind of describe like what you're trying to achieve, again, like what programs you used, that would be all really helpful.
Absolutely.
But I mean, this all kind of seems like it came from this scene and this like starry night vibes that I'm getting from from this particular piece. So that's super cool. I think there might be a little more. Ooh, okay. So like more like landscape and nature.
The light is super powerful there.
Yeah, I love this little. My eye just directly goes here. It's crazy because it's so dark up here and like, you know, it's such a good contrast. Okay. This is cool. This like texture and then I don't know. This kind of reminds me of like
a foggy window.
Yeah, exactly.
It feels like something that we should have seen in the Born Identity, if you guys remember. That's a deep cut. But when he's on the boat and he's like rowing, okay, sorry. No, I definitely see that, and it actually makes sense. Here, I'm curious what like layer masking and opacity would do, because I would love to see this more textured or less textured to see like if it should feel more in the like. In the existential space or more tied to reality. It feels like right in the middle here, which could be exactly perfect. But like my curiosity is almost like, what does it look like on both sides of that?
Yeah, I completely agree. Very fun though. All right, and here's another one. Ooh, I love the colors in this one. This is beautiful. Yeah, I'm curious if these are film shots, you know, or digital.
I have a lot of questions.
I have a lot of questions. I think it'd be good to kind of add that information in each project so that we have a better understanding.
Oh, one thing that would help here is using that geometry tool in Lightroom to strengthen your horizon line. But I will say that coming in from this right corner, it's like a really nice bright part of the image and your eye runs this way, which is nice. But just that slight, just a slight shift will like make it easier for your eye to run all the way across.
Yes, good point. Cool, thank you, Tim, for including her link.
Dude, Tim's
the best. Ooh, okay. Oh, this is supposed to be like a little sticker or something.
We need like a like a go to San Diego or something, like
Yeah.
text on here. It feels like it's good for tourism.
Yeah.
I like that you actually included that little white spot at the top to like make it look like a natural sticker.
Yeah.
I would love this image just a touch brighter in these dark parts because we're almost losing some of that detail, like on the sand.
Yeah, and even here too.
I just want to get like a slight, like even 5-10% brighter. Just give me a slightly better sense of what I'm looking at. But it's a beautiful image.
Yeah, I love the
and
colors.
definitely could work anywhere from like a hotel thing to postcards, tourism catalogs, like
a print. Yeah, absolutely. Cool, Kirsty. Okay, and then we've got another one. Ooh, I like that there's like some, in this project there's cohesiveness as far as using this little texture thing.
I'm curious how much
and she only used it in the sky for this one, actually.
how much compositing happens. Like, are these images separate? Were they taken put together? Because like the green feels very like pre-storm, like middle of the day look, so it's still like bright enough.
Yeah.
Which I think would make sense for what's going on up there too. I just love to see the process of this. And I'm pretty sure you can share that video stuff, especially on various socials, but Behance particularly. And that process can be really helpful for you just to get used to sharing how you're thinking. Because even the process of talking about it, like just like I got to today, is like really helpful for forming good conclusions about like what you want to do with your work in the future.
That's such a good point, for sure. Awesome. Okay, we've got a couple more.
Oh, so that's one after.
Oh.
So our question was answered immediately.
There we
Sorry.
go.
I should have.
I should have scrolled.
We should have scrolled. My bad. Talking all this
awesome.
crazy stuff.
It's kind of fun because even though it's like a slightly crooked, it gives me that feeling of like, like something terrible is about to happen. So it's like either you did that intentionally, I mean, or not, but it looks cool. Okay, great. And then here's just like a random fun one. Is this supposed to be a bird? I think it's a bird, right? Maybe it's like the neck is like reaching or something. I
would love this in a separate folder just because the other stuff was all super on point. Or not on point, all on
like
theme.
Cohesive theme.
And this threw me a little bit at the bottom. Not to say it's not cool, it's just...
It's a little bit different. I feel like it deserves its own project and like put in with other things. Cool. Oh, there's the original.
All right, new goal. We gotta
keep scrolling.
The opposite of just keep swimming from Finding Nemo is us. Keep scrolling before
just
you
keep
have
scrolling.
Oh, okay.
Ooh, okay, I love the use of textures here. This is fun, but I do have to agree. I think some of these shots where you're adding all these textures and colors should be on like probably a different project. That would be more cohesive than being put with all these other bigger, like further away landscape shots. Okay, so we've got another kind of lo-fi-ish shot.
Yeah, very lo-fi.
Oh, I kept scrolling. I didn't get the other one.
Hey, we tried.
We tried.
I feel like she's just messing with us. Like she's like changing the project.
Kirsty.
This feels really lo-fi, but the difference with this is the
also, texture manipulation manipulation going on here in the sky too.
That top is super interesting.
And here.
I like the beach. This one is a little more difficult for me because I don't really have any context of where this is or what's going on. I think it's just because it's a little too dark. And so I think, like, could you scroll up to the beach one?
Oh, yeah.
The beach one is a scene that's familiar. It, like, is chaotic in this way, but it's something you feel like you've stepped into or, like, seen in before. And without understanding, I wasn't sure if that was, like, a racing track we're looking at or, like, a fisherman's wharf or, like, some sort of shipping thing. And that context is important because I want to know, like, what slight dystopia I'm staring at.
Yeah, absolutely. That makes sense. I agree. Definitely need some more information. We have some more questions. All good things to share just to give the viewer a little bit more understanding. And this is totally out of left field, but I'm like wondering if these are just photoshopped in.
I am curious.
Yeah.
Especially about the background of it.
I know.
So you've shown us that you can composite.
Yeah.
And so that this front part makes me think snowstorm, makes me think someone looking through a glass of something. So I'm curious, in those two things, what context does this background look at? Which seems like the end of a beach.
Yeah, or it seems maybe like the same kind of area of this area, but just like, taken in
Yeah, sorry I got so yawny. I don't know what's going on. I'll get out of it pretty soon.
All right, cool. Let's take a look at one other project. Ooh, this beach one. You'll love a lot of, oh, see, there you go. Beach in the UK 2019. That's a good start as far as, giving some context. Ooh, I like this kind of wide angle-y vibe going on here. The harbor and the beach. I like this. This is cool. I probably also would want to just tweak it a little bit.
I do like this. It feels like something out of Hidden Figures. Remember that movie with Viola Davis?
I'm really bad at
it wasn't Viola Davis. I'm sorry. It was the film about the 3 black women who worked at NASA. And this just has like a really nice color palette to it.
Yeah.
So like that
Very
as
vintage.
I think something that
Yeah, I'm very curious about what equipment is being used to shoot this and just have a little more information about that.
Ooh.
Ooh. Okay. Cool. This is fun. I like the little, what do you call this? I don't know. It's like,
I'm not 100% sure.
I'm not 100%
My brain wants
sure
to say pictorialism, but I don't think that's what it is. I like this though. It really gives good perspective, and the thing that's nice is the frames all frame around those pillars and then cut inward, which allows it to feel like you're not fully missing anything, and that
like tunnel
the image,
vision.
the image repeatedly or consistently repeats and backs itself up. Yes, Paula, definitely looks like a 60s color palette.
Yeah, 60s color palette. I get that for
Since
sure.
I was definitely alive in the 60s, I know that it looked exactly like that. So, that's cool.
Super fun.
Like that.
Yeah. Ooh, okay. I like that you play around with a lot of different textures and colors. Shows like just kind of variety.
Hey Angela, how are you doing?
Oh, look at that. Interesting.
I wonder if did you illustrate those?
Yeah, they kind of look illustrated or like.
They look like a really good start to a children's book.
Yeah.
But in a style that feels very like, I don't know how to describe it. Feels African. Anyway, I like it a lot.
Okay. Yeah. Super fun. Well, these are all very exciting. Yeah, Kirsty, this is great. To wrap up, probably more information for each project.
Yes, absolutely.
And each project making it a little bit more cohesive. So maybe like some of those shots where they were just the beach and the harbor separate, and then like all the like kind of collage-y style images can go in a separate one as well. So great job. We're gonna jump over to our second portfolio. And this is by Angela Cava.
Angela's in here too.
Angela's
she
in
said
here.
Hi.
Hi.
Adventures
You
of
came
Weird
in just
Alfred.
at the right time because
Shout out
we're
to
heading
Alfred.
over to yours.
Oh, wow.
She's a student in Canada, Montreal.
Ooh.
Montreal-based artist who's interested in character design and cartoon drawings for comics or games.
Ooh.
That's pretty cool.
Angela,
also,
who are some
first off, I
people-
love your header
Yeah.
image. It's so cute.
Can you go down just a little bit?
Oh, yeah.
So, right on this left side, I like that you have a little artist statement. It says hello, it welcomes your person, but I also like that it talks about specifically what you're looking
Yes.
for and need, because people get lost in the internet and sometimes they like end up in places that they like might want to contact you or figure something about you, and having an artist statement is helpful.
Yeah, that's great.
My question for you while we're scrolling what are some artists that influence you or whose work you really enjoy?
Let me just quickly go into this one. That's Logo
Yeah, 'cause I'm
Folio.
curious what it is.
Me too. Oh, I love it already. Coffee and cream, my favorite.
I mean, it shows really good line work.
Yes.
We just went on from one end of like heavy illustration,
Yeah.
color, more like geometrical.
Geometrical.
I don't even know what I'm saying. I'm sorry. Geometry focused stuff. And now we're showing like really excellent line work and use of balance. Really like this. I like the reoccurring theme of this little like small dot, big dot pairing next to each other. Like, it's really nice. It's a good, simple palette that feels like an elevated diner.
Yes, exactly. I love it. Let me keep scrolling because I think there's my logo for a coffee shop. Love that. Thank you. Maybe put it at the top so we can get that right up. Ooh, okay. So this one's a logo for a thrift shop. Valeria Village. Okay. That's cool. I'm curious about maybe making this line go down a little more. It almost feels like it was cut off. I'm curious to see what it would be like to go down a little bit more. But that's pretty. I like that all these are kind of the same style and color.
I do. Oh.
Yeah, I like this one. I saw the header or the profile photo of this project. It's a logo for a gym.
Okay. I want to see more of this gym. Given this line work style, it'd be interesting if you had drawn up a little mirror or something. Because clearly, like, you understand weights. Sorry. Like line weight, not lifting weights. Or sorry, no one does it like this. But I would just kind of want to see more of this world. What's up, Mohammed? How you doing? Yes, Angela, it is you. And Daniel, I'm not sure what you're laughing at, but we will be as funny as we can.
But yeah, I'm interested to see a little bit more of this. I'd be curious to even see more design around each project too. I think you can flesh it out a little bit more.
Absolutely.
Ooh, okay. This one's logo for a political festival. This is cool. I like the words or the letters are all inside the hand. Yeah, very fun. Okay, and then here's
Another
a logo for
one.
a cafe. Cool. And then logo for a flower shop. That's cool. Very cute.
Really interesting.
All right. I like that you provided information about each.
Yes,
of
super
the things.
helpful. Can we look at Adventures of Weird Alfred?
Yes.
There's other work I want to see
Meet
more, but
Weird
I'm really
Alfred.
curious what it is.
Ooh, I love this that you're adding information already. Meet Weird Alfred. Alfred loves to explore his surroundings and go into adventures in the magical world that he lives in. But he's also a weird fellow, which leaves him in odd situations and places sometimes. Aw, that's so cute. Love it. Love the color. Ooh, yes. I'm obsessed.
Wow.
This is so cool.
This is like Skeeter from Doug.
Yeah.
Sorry.
Yeah.
Another deep cut. Apologies.
Aw, hi, Julie.
Hey, Julie.
She's
Shout
also
out
in
to
Montreal.
the Montreal homies.
Yeah. Woo woo. I like this. I like this a lot. I love the little what do you call this? That like comic book?
I think it's
what is it called? Like it's something. If
God.
anybody knows what that little style of the dots being together like that. I know it's at the tip of my tongue, but I can't.
The dot shading.
Something.
Dot
But
and
it's
half
that
tone.
very comic book style, like, you know.
Sorry, yeah, I Googled it. I got excited. Yes, Ariana, Skeeter. Halftone? Is that what it's called?
Halftone. Yeah, I think that's what it is.
Thank you, Tim.
Thank you, Tim.
Man.
Coming in with the right stuff.
Tim, could you just come? I mean,
I know, he
can
needs
we
to be
beam me
here.
up? Beam me up,
Oh my god, I
Scotty.
love this.
These
Wait,
are
this was like
beautiful.
today.
Also, you should, can we go back to the main page for a second?
Uh-huh.
Like go back to
The main
Behance
page.
page. Here, I would love if you use, I think that you have more compelling images to draw your person in than this one, and not that one's bad. I think you can still use that text.
Yeah.
But I would love, like,
that
we're
other
3 images
image?
in, and they are awesome.
Yeah, to have the other image, like the second or even the third image,
Mm-hmm.
be the profile photo for this.
Angela, please apply to the Adobe Creative Residency. I see you're a student. You have
Yes.
really good work.
I love it, and I think you can definitely kind of
Absolutely.
really
I
flesh
mean
this
it.
out.
Can someone please find her and tell her that we
Oh
said
my
this?
god.
Yo,
Yes.
my man is. Oh man, he has the flexible pants going on.
Yeah, look at him
Little
pointing. I
points,
love
there's all
these
stuff
like
going on.
yeah. This
Tim,
is so
no
fun.
teleportation. Okay.
Okay. Ooh, okay, so then she included also like the
Yeah.
studies, sketches, and inspiration, that's always really nice. I love seeing process stuff.
I remember staring at those as a kid and being like, "Well, I'm gonna learn how to do this."
Yeah.
Never figured it out.
Yeah, me neither. I know, and I always was like, oh, you got to do the lines and whatever, and I was like, no. But very impressive, Angela. So this is studies of Alfred's face and body. This was in 2019. This is really cool. Oh, and all the like shapes of everything, of kind of the world.
The shapes are great. The colors are great. All these details are really important because they show that you can establish an outside world. I like these little.
This is my favorite. This
Little
full
stickers.
mushroom kind of like.
That's 2 days straight from mushrooms. for us.
Alice in Wonderland vibes.
No, mushroom. Stop. Stop it. What we're not doing is that. What we're talking about are someone drew mushrooms yesterday and someone drew mushrooms today.
Yes. Yeah. So
That's
there
all
is
we're
mushroom
talking about.
theme.
Keep your mind out the gutter. Angela, apply to the residency. Scroll up in
Yes,
here. There's a
absolutely.
link. You are responding. I'm not playing with you. If you have a question, you can DM me later, or you can just apply to it. I don't know, but work on what you want to work on.
This is really fun.
That's beautiful.
Yeah. Thanks for watching.
Dude,
I love it.
yes.
Very cool. I'm curious to see one other quick one as well.
Can we look at that photo one? I'm curious what that is.
Yeah. Photo editing, 555 company. Let's see. Hopefully it
Wow,
loads.
it's pretty blank.
Oh, is it? Oh, no, there we go. Okay, great.
Oh, look at this before and after,
Wow.
or after and before.
Amazing.
I would definitely say shoot that a little brighter, but I like that you started.
At least it's like started with the dark.
Yeah.
And, you know,
yeah. If
when
you never shoot too bright, you can't
Yes.
go back. It's
Yeah.
like if I have an empty erasing board, there's nothing you can get back from it. Yes, Leah, we did enjoy your mushrooms yesterday.
Oh, that was hers. Oh,
And
yeah, that's right.
we mean the drawn mushrooms and not any other type of mushroom that you might maybe think that I'm speaking of.
But very cool. I think this is great. You know, brightened it up just right, and it looks
Give a little
cool.
punch.
It looks super cool. Okay, and then here's maybe like a different pose potentially. Oh yeah. Okay. Oh, I think I like even this pose more because he's got like the little light thing. Okay.
Yeah,
There
here,
we go.
adding a little bit. We got from flat
Little
to here.
saturation and contrast. Super fun. Oh, I like this too.
Yeah. I think here would have been a great opportunity to pull a little closer and have her longer straw sipping. It'd just be kind of a nice thing. I think that it's framed well in this background. You have good texture. So I would like to see, different parts of her face.
Yeah, yeah.
Rob, I don't know if it's 555 Soul, but that is your new nickname when I refer to you.
Very cool. Awesome.
Yeah, thank you for sharing this. This is dope.
This is so cool. Yeah, definitely, Angela. You need to apply because I think you have some really good stuff with the illustrations and all that. All right. Cool. I'm curious about this one real quick. I just want to see it.
No, there's nothing for you to rush. Don't
That's
rush.
so cool.
Can I get a
So
cup
fun.
of
So many good
coffee?
colors. All right. Well, thank you so much, Angela, for submitting your portfolio, and to Kirsty. You guys did an awesome job, and we had a lot of fun.
Yeah, for
reviewing.
showing work that is dope and being brave enough to show it to the world.
Exactly.
We know that this Adobe Lives gets over 20 million viewers per minute. And so,
Yes.
you guys, in your bravery. Last minute questions.
Yeah, any last minute questions, you guys, feel free to ask them. We have just about a couple minutes. Any last minute questions for Aundre? Yeah, but we had a lot of fun reviewing these portfolios and working on your project. Yeah, with Chipper Things. It's such a cute name.
She'll ask me about you later and we'll link that.
Link. Yes, love connections. Ariana, some great portfolios today. Yeah, exactly. We had some awesome portfolios. So, well, that concludes the end of our 2-day live stream with Aundre Larrow. Yeah. Oh.
Oh, no, we're back.
No, we're back, but-
let's take a minute. Can I have my iPad real quick? Something to...
Yeah, we have about 1 minute
Oh,
left,
Angela can't hear anything we're saying. Someone typed to Angela and told her to apply to the residency. Okay. As we leave here, last thing I want to say, have a portfolio for your work as you figure that out over time. If you need gifts from someone that doesn't have as much money to help you buy a camera or whatever, or like tools, ask someone for even $20 can help you get something to help display your work. These are important because it's in a way that you can curate properly. Lastly, find me on the internet.
Yes, go follow him.
Here.
Aundre on Instagram.
Just AUNDRE, and then here on Twitter. Thank you guys so much for coming on.
Yes.
Thank you to my new best friend and my mate in the boat, or not the boat.
All right. Well,
And
thank
we'll see
you
you later.
guys. Bye.
Bye.